It's Springbank. It's from Campbeltown. It's aged 10 years. We're gonna review it right now.
Truth.
What? Welcome back to Brolic Whiskey. I am Metahuman Dave.
Back at you. I'm just Mike.
We are having yet another bottle that was donated by Jonathan Castle. So, you're the man. Thank you for helping us keep this channel alive. Much appreciative to you, sir. We're tasting Springbank 10.
Wow.
So this is lightly peated. I will let you know that, Mike. So
It's lightly colored.
that's because
That's
there
a very light
is
color.
no artificial coloring added,
Really?
no chill filtration. So this is the true color, what this whiskey looks like. This is how whiskey should be.
Oh, really?
I don't want coloring in my whiskey. I want to see the real deal, what it looks like, straight up.
Oh, give me
don't
some
don't
blue,
add that caramel color.
blue whiskey sometime. Maybe some red whiskey.
I know this says lightly peated, but I'm actually getting a good amount of peat off the nose.
I get very little.
But a little bit of almost like a menthol, a mint smell. Interesting. So before I dip into this one,
Yeah.
Mike, this is our first time having any whiskey from the Campbeltown region of Scotland. Springbank, they have 3 different lines, so Springbank is one of them, Hazelburn is another, and then there's Longrow. There's only 2 other distilleries in all of Campbeltown, and the other ones are Glengyle and Glen Scotia. What are you thinking there? You're thinking.
I'm thinking I'm not enjoying this.
I was afraid that might happen.
Yeah, no, I get the little bit of the that peat you were talking about. It's very light on the nose. When I take a good whiff of it, I really do get a lot of citrus in it. Some type of
Interesting.
some type of fruit. It's not real pleasant smelling.
Okay.
You know, it's I don't know. It's like washing in soap. I mean, soap doesn't really smell good, but you don't smell bad. It just doesn't smell good.
Well, this is, again, lightly peated. It's 60% ex-bourbon barrels that it was aged in, and 40% ex-sherry barrels, which you would expect it to have such a high percentage of sherry that this would be a lot darker. The thing about this is, oftentimes we find out that it's either Oloroso sherry or PX sherry. There are other types of sherry out there. Springbank does not tell us what type of sherry they're using, but I'm shocked that it's this light.
It's super
For a
light.
sherry.
It's too band-aidy for me.
That's not a word.
Too rubbing alcohol-y for me. It's not palatable for enjoyment. It's like medicinal.
Okay, which you always say that with almost every peated whiskey you've tasted so far, so that's to be
But
expected.
some of them are enjoyable though. This is not.
This
There's nothing but the band-aid rubbing alcohol.
This is a weird one for me too. It is a single malt, so we'll give it that. Before I go into my tasting notes, I do want to say a little bit about Springbank. They are actually 100% all in-house. They do everything from grain to glass in-house.
That's respectable.
They're basically a craft style distillery. They're doing everything themselves. It's owned by the Mitchell family since 1828. So that makes them the oldest family-owned Scotch distillery.
All right.
Props for doing everything yourselves. Props
Yeah.
to keeping the color out of it and non-chill filtering and all that stuff. This is my first time trying a Springbank. One of the things I always hear from other reviewers is Springbank has a particular funk. They call it the Springbank funk with all of their whiskeys. But Ralphie, everyone that's a whiskey fan knows Ralphie. He's was the #1 whiskey channel for 10 years. He seems to love this one. He gave it like a 91 out of 100 on his malt markings. I don't know what he's enjoying on that one, because I'm with Mike. This is not as enjoyable as I would like. Especially, I am a peat head, and this smells in my glass like it's going to be a peated whiskey. But it's thin. It dissipates quickly.
Yeah.
It tastes younger than 10 years to me. It doesn't taste like a 10-year-old whiskey. Now, I will say, and we've learned this in the past, it could be because this bottle is so old and opened. You can see it's below the 50% mark. So maybe we're not giving this a fair shot. And it's also the old label style, so that tells us that it's been around for a little while.
Okay.
So we'll leave that caveat on there that it's possible that it's because it's an old enough bottle and it's been opened for so long before we got a chance to try it that maybe the flavors just really changed. Like, remember Lagavulin?
Yeah.
We did not like my Lagavulin, but we loved when we freshly opened a bottle. We're reviewing an open bottle, though, so we have to go by what we have. I'm not digging it. This might be the first whiskey that Jonathan's donated to us that we're in agreement with him.
Yeah.
It's not for us.
All right, Jonathan, you're right on this one.
What's your score?
We'll give it to you. Look, I'm taking it back again to like a 4-ish
Okay.
range, just because, like you said, maybe the guys that have been drinking whiskey, for a little bit longer than I have, can appreciate this. I can't. I can't find anything to appreciate about it. I think it's great the way they make it.
Yeah, me
but
too.
The product didn't work for me.
I'm in agreement with that as well. I'm actually going to score it pretty close to you, but slightly lower, 3.8
Okay.
for me. Now, I forgot to mention the alcohol percentage. This is 46%. So, again,
Respectable.
it's not that bare minimum 40%.
Yeah.
So, it's got a little bit of heat to it, but I'm not getting heat on the tongue. I'm actually getting more, like, I would have thought this was a 40% whiskey by how thin it feels on the mouth.
Agreed.
Now, we're doing our diluted one. Another thing about this whiskey is that it's distilled 2.5 times. I'm still getting peat, which most of the times when we've had peated whiskeys, when we diluted it, that was the first thing I said usually goes away. So I'm still smelling that peat smoke. A medicinal.
No.
Mike doesn't seem to approve.
No, it just enhanced that medicinal flavor to me. It's very Band-Aid tasting now. Not happy.
I'm not
happy.
getting Band-Aid, and I understand what Mike means with Band-Aid with a lot of peated whiskey, but I'm not getting that Band-Aid taste with this one. I do get that little tingly peat sensation that we often get.
Yeah. It's there.
But not iodine, not Band-Aid. Unfortunately, not enough citrus. I don't feel like this is balanced.
No, it's not enjoyable for me. I think I just think I'm too immature in this world to appreciate it. I wouldn't suggest it to someone starting out. I wouldn't suggest it to someone a year into whiskey. I wouldn't suggest it to Dave anymore.
Dude, I tried it again. I wanted to swish it around on the tongue, see what it feels like, get that mouthfeel. For something that's non-chill filtered, you'd normally expect some oiliness. So a good, thick mouthfeel is what I like with a whiskey.
I didn't get that.
I don't get that at all. This is thin. It feels like a much lower alcohol percentage. It feels like it's 40%. It feels like it's young. It feels like it's chill filtered because I don't get clinginess. I don't get mouthfeel. It feels thin.
Yeah.
The flavors dissipate pretty quick. This actually brought out more of that alcohol. Rubbing alcohol note.
Yeah. I'm keeping it the same.
1.5.
I'm going with the same 4. Like I said,
1.5 for me on the dilution. You need some
unfortunate for
rocks.
me, it's just hit it.
Alright, camera got overheated, turned off, and we completely missed our entire rocks glass review. So here we go, part 2. Just pouring just a touch more over the top.
Well, I'm still pleasantly pleased that it's different.
Yeah, this is good on the rocks, comparatively speaking to how it was neat. As Mike mentioned earlier, it takes away a lot of the medicinal taste for him. For me, it brought out just a touch of citrus.
Yes.
and it eliminated that weird like rubbing alcohol flavor that I had. So for that alone, it's slightly more enjoyable. This is probably the way I would say to go with it, but it's still a 4.1.
Yeah, if there's nothing else on the shelf, and you have ice cubes, enjoy. It's not great. It's not game-changing. There's nothing about it. It's just much more tolerable with ice.
For sure.
Not enjoying it. I'd stay around the 4.1, back in that area.
4.1 is what we're gonna stick with.
Don't buy this. Don't.
Oh,
If you're
man.
adventurous, if you won a lot of money at your friend's poker game, go ahead, give it a shot. Other than that, don't buy it.
I think what I was saying, in case it wasn't in the diluted part, is I know there's a huge cult following with Springbank. A lot of people really love it, so we might get some haters in the comment section saying that we're out of our minds for not liking that. And
You guys are just kind of douchebags.
we'll say again, it's because the bottle's towards the bottom. It might taste slightly different. So if you think that we're just wrong, then send us a bottle of a fresh one, or even just samples. Just a little like 1 ounce sample, 2 of them for one for each of us. All you have to do is email us, brolicwhiskey@gmail.com, brolicwhiskey@gmail.com, and we will send you the address where you can send us samples. And that goes for anything you want us to try. Just hit us up with an email, and we'll let you know where you can send your samples. But in the meantime, not really for us. You had the outro, so we'll stick with it.
Let's go with it. Hey, we're two dudes that have been duped by a donation. Jonathan, you got us on this one. So we appreciate it, but you got us on this one. We're the best reviewing channel to be duped.
By Jonathan Castle.
Again.
We're in agreement with you, Jonathan. Not big fans.
Chopsticks.